just a conversation with our virtual folks. This is a hybrid conference, and we want to make sure that they know that we know that they're there and that they're sharing in this experience. This Spirit of Fatherhood Hall of Fame was started way back when. It started, back in 1998, and the whole idea behind it was to honor those who had made it possible for us to be doing this work. They were really laying the foundation, and many of them in this room were right there on the ground floor when all this stuff was unfolding. It was a lot of fragmented pieces, but there were a lot of pieces that was coming together. And one of the pieces that was coming together was actually this conference. And I recall it was back in, it was when we had the conference in San Francisco. This conference has been all over the country. It's been in San Francisco. It's been in New York, at Times Square. We've been all over with this conference. And there were two individuals, really three, who really provided the foundation, for the type of partnerships that we look for, but also they provided support for the work that we're doing. In the history of our organization, one of our first grants came from the Federal Office of Child Support. And the commissioner at the time, who really got the name commissioner put into the federal office, before that time it was director, was a judge named Judge David Gray Ross. And Judge Ross, participated in every conference and provided support for the conference. And it's interesting, and I'm going to take a little bit of license here and say that I wish that the federal government would work with us like we did back then, because Judge Ross was a willing partner and he figured out a way to do it. I've had a similar conversation with his contemporaries and said, I don't know how we do that, but we started with Judge Ross. And then the other individual who was, I guess some would say the big financial backer of the infrastructure development, was the Ford Foundation, a guy named Ron Mincy. And it was also a community practitioner named Ron Johnson, who had really enlivened the whole idea behind the community practitioners. And that year that we had that conference, Ron passed away. And we named our Community Practitioner Award after Ron Johnson. But just want to give you some history and let you know that, and the whole idea behind it was to say that we need to celebrate those who do the work. And that if we don't celebrate the ones who are doing the work, and this is a fatherhood conference, I would ask you, Geneva, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? And I think that it's important for us to do that, and so that we have an institutional memory, so you'll know who the pillars are. You've heard me say before, we don't need to be reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of stuff to build upon. And I know a lot of you went to Dr. Herb Turner's workshop this morning and others, but I know that what he was saying is, look, there's a lot of work out there, but now we got to really be able to cull out of it the evidence that we really need to sustain support for the work that we do. But it's been building. And so that's what this whole Hall of Fame lunch is all about. And it's called the Spirit of Fatherhood Hall of Fame, because we need to have our own awards program. This is our Academy Awards. This is our Emmys. This is our, People's Choice. All right. But we got to do this. All right. And I hope long after I'm kind of, done my part, that we continue with this, because this is so important for the field of work that we do. And the individuals who will be receiving recognition today are truly individuals who've earned the awards that they will be receiving today. And we just want to celebrate them. And that, I think that celebration also gives them a sense of that they've done something well. All right, because it is about living our lives in such a way that we leave a legacy. And again, the theme of this whole conference, building, making a difference for generations to come. And we hope that through this Hall of Fame luncheon, that the memories of these individuals and the contributions that they make will be passed on for generations to come. At least that's our intent. And so what we're going to do today, because, we did start a mentoring academy. And so before I get to the real, the awards for the different advances in fatherhood, I do want to honor our mentors and also our mentees in our first National Fatherhood Mentoring and Training Academy. These individuals, and some of you who came to the pre-conference yesterday and you heard from our mentors, y'all know that we pulled together an awesome collection of people, and we have a combined experience of 350 years. And these individuals have been volunteering. They have been just doing it, for just the sake of just, pouring back into a next generation. And so what I want to do right now is honor our mentors and also give our mentees who completed their 6-month journey through the mentoring program to give them their certificates of completion as we get started, okay? And so, I'm going to ask, who's that, Darian? Can you join me? It's my son, Darian, right here. All right. Okay. So why don't you just hand me the awards? Just hand them to me, yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyone? Okay. This first award, and it's going to Mrs. Avis Files, and it says Mentorship Award presented to Mrs. Avis Files, serving as a legacy leader in the nation's first Fatherhood and Mentoring and Training Academy, June 2nd, 2025. And afterwards, we're going to take pictures with all of our mentors, and our mentees are here, but also our other award recipients. Next person I want to bring up, who was a mentor, Dr. Herb Turner. Dr. Herb Turner, is he here? There he is. Okay. The next mentor I want to honor is Mr. Ron Terragina. Our next mentorship award goes to Miss Kimberly Dent.
God bless. Thank you.
Good, good. Next is Dr. Jessica Pearson. Right. And last but certainly not least, mentor Geneva Ware Rice. Right. And the thing is, I want you to know that we are taking applications for a new cohort. Our mentors have agreed to, we have a faculty of 15, and they've agreed to continue to mentor. And so, I have one more. Where's Kelly Littles? Okay. It's Kelly Little, please come up. All right. And we do have a plaque. It must be this. Left your hardware in the back. I have it in the back. I'll get it for you. Thank you so much. Good, good, good. Thank you. Okay. All these mentors, have a wealth of experience. Again, 350 years of combined experience, and we just want them to know how appreciative we are for all of their efforts. Okay. Now our mentees. Dr. Matthew Alamu. Matthew, you here? And what it says It says the Fatherhood Mentoring and Training Academy Certificate of Achievement. The following award is given to Dr. Matthew Alamu for completion of all requirements of the National Fatherhood and Mentoring and Training Academy, June 2nd, 2025, creating a legacy for the next generation of fatherhood leaders and practitioners. And his mentor was Herb Turner. Okay, is Brian Bookart here? Hey, okay, here we go. All right. The next mentee is Mr. Brian Bookart, and his mentor was Mr. Alfonso Pettis. Please come up. Okay, yeah, Vera. Thank you, Brian. You still got that computer you won last year? All right. He was a favorite father last year. Thank you. Okay. The next person receiving award is Chablis Dandridge. Chambly. There it is. All right. And his mentor was Ron Terragina. Our next mentee recipient is Dr. Bantu Gross. Bantu. And his mentor was Mr. Kelly Little. Our next recipient, Certificate of Achievement, Ms. Misha Henderson. And her mentor was Kimberly Dent. Our next recipient, Certificate of Achievement, is Mr. Will Noggles. Will. Okay. Our next recipient is Dr. Anaje Mued, and his mentor was Dr. Jessica Pearson. And last and certainly not least, of our mentees, and we started out, we had 10 mentor-mentee matches, and the next one is Mr. Jason Perry, and his mentor was Dr. Stuart Perelet. Jason Perry, I see him. He's out. Jason Perry, he's out there selling some books. All right. But we'll be back in a few moments, and then we'll do our Fatherhood Advancement Awards. Please continue to enjoy your lunch. I really want you to celebrate these individuals. They've worked long and hard to make people's lives better. And each and every one of these next award recipients have earned it. They're legacy leaders. They're people who have advanced our work, to the level where it is right now. And I always believe that you have to honor people while they're still alive, right? It's okay to get some recognition when you go home to glory, but it's even better to smell the roses on this side of, in my picture, we say Zion, right? And I just want you to really celebrate them and just let them know how much we appreciate everything that they have done. Our first award recipient, and this person is receiving the Vicky Tereski Women in Fatherhood Leadership Award is Miss Angela Patton. Angela is not here, but she did leave a video message. For give you a little bit of background about Angela. She is Chief Executive Officer of Girls for Change, and she is
Hi, I'm Chris Van Hollen.
Co-director of the multi-award winning documentary Daughters. Angela Patton. Derek, roll the videotape.
I'm deeply honored to receive the 2025 Vicky Tereski Women in Fatherhood Leadership Award. To be recognized in Vicky's name, someone whose advocacy and leadership have shaped the national conversation around fatherhood, is meaningful. My work has always been driven by the belief that when we uplift fathers, we strengthen families and entire communities. To have that commitment acknowledged in this way by a committee of peers and leaders I deeply respect is humbling and affirming. Thank you for this recognition and for continuing to shine a light on the role women play in championing fatherhood. Good evening.
If you've not seen the documentary Daughters on Netflix, please see it. It is, she's in LA, would you believe right now, and the movie, the documentary is up for a Peabody Award. All right, and so they just continue to roll. But you know, she had a co-conspirator, all right, who is our recipient this year of our Ron Johnson Community Practitioner Award. His name is Mr. Chad Morris. All right. See, if anybody ever had any notion of whether or not the MPCL curriculum works inside of jails, watch that documentary. That is Chad, a master trainer in our fatherhood, motherhood, co-parenting. And Chad, you know, even though he might not say this, he was really a star, and if not the star of that whole documentary, because he brought to life building those relationships with those fathers. And I would say that he's going to be during his session tomorrow on reflections of daughters, particularly as it relates to its implications in working with incarcerated fathers and even when they get out. And I've known him for a long time, and he is the quintessential community practitioner, even more than that. And we're just so proud of him as he stands here today, receiving this award and getting inducted into the Spirit of Fatherhood Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Brothers and sisters in this work, thank you. I'm going to share something brief. It's a full circle moment for me being here. I attended my very first conference back in, I want to say it was 2013. And it's two people particularly I want to thank in the room. The work that we've been able to do in responsible fatherhood, motherhood and co-parenting, rites of passage, all of those things. The gentleman who introduced me to that work is Anthony Mingo, the gentleman that led us in prayer. And I want to thank him, and it's a particular lesson he taught me that's really important to the work and the conversation we were having at this table. He came to us at working through the Department of Health, the Virginia Department of Health, and the Richmond Family Fatherhood Initiative. They had a very unique approach to fatherhood. They had identified that the city we lived in particularly was a great example. So if you took 10 families with households in them, 6 of 10 of those, with children in the household, 6 of 10 of those families were single parent households. That was the makeup of the city and the metropolitan area we lived in. And so Anthony Mingo, who was the leader of their initiative, the Richmond Family Fatherhood Initiative that eventually became the Virginia Family Fatherhood Initiative, he approached us in partnership when I was at Trinity Family Life Center in the auspices of knowing what the issue was. Let's put theory to action by doing responsible fatherhood support work. with the evidence-based curriculum. And what he taught me was from the very beginning, I was a little bit younger, less gray, ready and scrappy to get to whatever we had to do. If the problem was there, we were going to tackle it and we'd figure out what we didn't know along the way. But what he taught me was the power of relationships in community-based collective impact and power building. That formula has been what has enabled us to do this work. And I thank him immensely for having the trust in us to start what we thought were flying by the seat of our pants. He introduced us to Dr. Johnson. And by introducing us to Dr. Johnson, we were credentialed in the curriculum. Mingo had charged me to lead an initiative to help build these things, boots on the ground, managing people who had been in the work, some of them up to 17 years. But they had the trust in us to do it. And Doc became more than a credentialer. He's much more of a mentor and somebody who's been a guiding light in this work for me. And I will say this, Doc impressed 3 things upon me. The first was fidelity of implementation. You stick to that script and you don't have much to worry about. You let them talk 80% of the time, you talk 20, you're good to go. The second thing he taught me from the personal aspect of this work is every day you wake up, you're the brand new parent of a brand new child. The third thing he taught me, when I would run into impasses and have problems, Doc became my consigliere and strategist so that I didn't jump off the cliff impetuously, being a bit young in the work. Doc would listen to it, but I knew enough to come with a solution if there was a problem. He'd listen to it. He would affirm that strategy 9 times out of 10 and say 2 things. Stay cool, keep going, young man. And that's what we did. And the efforts to us keep going led us to the partnership with Angela Patton and Girls for a Change. And the honoring thing about that work, if you have not seen it, it is on Netflix. The documentary is called Daughters. It captures what we did with 1 cohort out of 10 cohorts that was in DC in 2019 in the jail. And that work was not started by people who had an intentionality to celebrate fatherhood from a practitioner's view. That organization stands to prepare Black girls for the world and the world for Black girls. That's their mission. Their mission is not fatherhood. But those girls decided in their girls' action team, they wanted to celebrate their relationships with their fathers. In so doing, the bravery and boldness of girls to have an ideation to do this thing in a jail, in a carceral setting, is something that I can share the sentiment of Mingo. We were scared to death because we as adults wouldn't be that brave to think that we could go in and do that work. And the sheriff then, Sheriff Woody, he allowed the work. But what happens is we continue to do this hard work with these dads. It's the girls' bravery that help these men remember that beyond a jumpsuit, beyond their inmate number, and that whatever crime they've been incarcerated of, they're still dad. And so it's in the spirit of that work in a day and time that we're being challenged with the concept and definition of family is being challenged and it's being politicized. So I posit this, that for all of us who stand for fathers, let's remember that fatherhood is more than just a role, a personal role. It's an act of cultural resistance in a day and time that the tide is changing, but your work is what continues, and I'm honored to be amongst you. Thank you.
Again, afterwards, we're going to take a picture with all the mentors and mentees and also our Hall of Fame inductees. The next person receiving a Hall of Fame induction is Mrs. Geneva Ware Rice. And she is receiving the NPCL Outstanding Fatherhood Leadership Award. Yep.
Don't let me fall.
I won't. Geneva, you know, I've known her for a long time, well over 20 years. You know, she was a federale, you know, but she really, you know, really stepped into this whole work, the marriage work, the fatherhood work. And even in the early days of the Mentoring Academy, I will tell you that she was my consultant in pulling those things together. She said, Jeff, you can't do this. Jeff, you can't do that. Jeff, you can't do this. And what to include, but she has just, really been a shining star in this whole fatherhood work. And each year, NPCL always honors that leader who really, represents what we're all about, and that is to make our communities better, and but more importantly, make the lives of families and children better. This is an award, and we're so happy to give to her. And it says, Mrs. Geneva Ware Rice, Leadership in Fatherhood and Family Strengthening, June 2nd, 2025. And then it has, and each of these plaques have on them the award. It says the Spirit of Fatherhood Hall of Fame, Leadership in Fatherhood and Family Strengthening Award, presented to Mrs. Geneva Ware Rice.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jeffrey Johnson. I tell you, I just want to say it is just such an honor to be amongst you all, because this work is amazing, but it's also amazingly difficult. And to be here and be part of a group that's so dedicated and so smart and so sharp, I just feel honored to be here. And I really thank you for this award. That's all I gotta say. Thank you. Bye.
I got you.
Yeah, this is gonna let me fall. All right. Oh, thank you.
Our next award recipient is the liberated director of the Washington State Fatherhood Council, Ms. Ann Stone. This award is named after Judge David Gray Ross, the person I described in the history of this award earlier, who just changed the whole way in which child support, was doing business. Let me tell you what his clarion call was. And he would come to every conference and say this. He said, child support is more than about collections. And he was saying that as the federal commissioner, sending that clarion call out there to all the child support agencies. So much so, would you believe 20 years later, is no longer the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement, but it's called the Federal Office of Child Support Services. But that all started with Judge Ross, and the notion is that those individuals who work in the government space, and Ann has been in the government space in the state of Washington, heading the Fatherhood Council there, and she has been a shining star on the scene since her entry into this work. And we could not have a more successful and exemplary person to receive this Judge Gray Ross Government Leadership Award, Ann Stone.
Well, ditto, ditto, ditto. It is humbling to be in this room full of amazing leaders in this work. In 2017, we invited Ron Mincy to come and share his wisdom, and he had just written Failing Our Fathers, along with a bazillion other things that he's authored. And then our friends from the state of Connecticut, right? Because peer pressure is a marvelous thing. And when you find out you're trailing the field, you don't like that. And so peer pressure and a governor who really believed in what we're doing, but really this is about the fathers in our state. They are incredible and their voices are incredible. I have been in child and family services for some odd years. And, I've been a funder, I've been a nonprofit executive director. As a funder, I had a portfolio of like 80 programs, $8 million. And I am embarrassed to say I had one fatherhood program. This was 20 years ago. We weren't even talking about dedicated revenue for dads. I wish I had that money now, what I could do with that money now. But really, this is an honor to all the men who are taking incredible time out of their crazy busy lives to share their voices, because what they will say is, I don't want other dads to go through what I've been through. And so if we can change that path for the next generation, that is my legacy. Thank you.
Okay. Our next award recipient is Dr. Armand R. Perry. And he is receiving the Ronald B. Mincy Research and Scholar Award for his efforts in research and as a scholar in this whole field. I met him many years ago, and I was very impressed by him. I was also with him last year at the Wichita Fatherhood Conference, and he had been doing a lot of research on co-parenting that really kind of, was got my attention. But he's been in the Healthy Start space in this work for a long time. He's out of Kentucky. And he also lived here for a while in DC. And again, he's just an example of a researcher, who's dedicated his life to understanding better and to get that scientific evidence that we need to justify the work that we do. And we could not have a better example of research and scholarship in this whole field than Dr. Armand Perry.
Thank you all so much for having me. I'm super humbled. My mother, she once described me as an opinion waiting on a question. I say that to say that it rare is the case that I'm at a loss for words, and that's almost the case now, right? That's how humbled I am. Commissioner Carter, you referenced OGs, and if you do what I do for a living, Ron Mincy is absolutely one of the OGs. So to receive award. So to receive an award with his name attached to it, I mean, this is crazy, right? And to be inducted into any Hall of Fame is, I mean, it's just wild. I'm feeling like Randall Cunningham or Jalen Hurts. I don't know if I can say that in the DMV. I don't know if I can say that's a long way to the door, but super humble, super appreciative. Just thinking back on the decision to go into the field of social work, it's all about service and it's all about gratitude. It's about learning and sharing with as many people as are willing to sit down and listen with you. And so the idea that people like one of the other OGs, Dr. Jeffrey Johnson, who you never know who's watching you and paying attention to you while you just sort of go about your business. And that's the way that I've been attempting to do my thing for however long. And so to know that there are people paying attention and watching and recognizing and acknowledging the work is something that, although for many a Hall of Fame induction is the culmination of a career, for me, I don't see myself as anywhere near being done. But what has happened today is Dr. Johnson and you all have put the battery in my back, right, as the young people might say, to continue to move the work forward and to become more aggressive with it. So I look forward to continuing the conversations with you all over the course of the next day and a half and over the next however many years as we all press forward and trying to do what we can do to help men increase their capacity for taking active roles in their children's lives. Thank you all so much.
Play that tune again. I like that. We're celebrating, right? We're celebrating. Hey. Right. The tide does come off sometimes. Okay. Our next award recipient, and this is one of the older awards, just like the Ron Mincy and Judge Ross Awards. This is kind of in that category of foundation. And this award is named after Dr. Charles Augustus Ballard. And it's interesting, you know, when we set this award up, it had to be 16 years ago or so. Of course, he was the recipient of his own award. And he was so humble. And if anybody worked with Charles Ballard, you knew that you were going to be pressing ahead with fatherhood. And if you weren't serious about the work, he would actually ask you to leave the room. You know, I mean, he was that type of guy, you know, but we know that in the environment that he was in at that time, you know, that's how he had to act. All right. And he was letting us know as young rookies, you know what I mean, that we were rookies, you know what I mean? He said, because he would say to you, I've been around longer than you have. I said, yes, sir, you know. And we became real good friends. I had an opportunity to even speak at his homegoing, you know, just based on the relationship that he and I had established. But he is, if you want to know the history of fatherhood at the community-based level, look back on the history of Charles Ballard. If you buy the book that Herb and I wrote on fatherhood, you will see the whole second chapter dedicated to Charles Ballard to better understand what he contributed. It's just so important to understand that. And we have a responsibility to write about people like him, because if we don't, Kirk, he's going to be left out, right? You know, and so folks need to know that this award, you know, serves as notice that there are pioneers in this work. And we're so happy that the recipient of this year's Charles Augustus Ballard Award is a pioneer in his own right, Mr. Ron Tirina.
Hola. Dios te bendiga. God bless you. OH, you know, yes, I'm a Buckeye. My wife said, don't cry. But I can't help it. I'm a Mexican. All right. Dr. Johnson, I just want to say thank you so much. You know, your friendship means a great deal to me. I look up to you, I respect you, and I honor you. Having you part of my life has been amazing, because God sent people like you to help me become like you. So let me read what I wrote. I want to begin by saying thank you. I am truly humbled to receive the Charles A. Ballard Award, to be honored in the name of a man who brought fatherhood to the national stage, who believed in second chances and family restoration, is a deeply personal honor to me. Over 3 decades ago, I was convicted of a crime I did not commit. I spent 15 years of my life behind bars for something I didn't do. And yet, in that prison cell, something in me refused to give up. Not just on myself, but on my family and on the future I couldn't yet see, but still believed in. When I came home on September 14th, 2006, I didn't come back to just reestablish my life and reputation. I came home with a purpose to establish a legacy for my children. My wife and I'm married now 39 years, and she still likes me. We founded the Ridge Project in 2000 while I was still incarcerated, together with our 3 children who are now adults who serve alongside us. We developed a clear path for others, and we have 6 grandchildren and 1 on the way. One that brings dignity, purpose, and leadership to fathers and families infected and affected by incarceration. A movement focused on healthy relationships and marriage to bring economic family stability through positive youth development, fatherhood, and healthy marriage, education, and workforce development. Our mission is to change culture so children grow up with a healthy father. Through our lived experience, we authored an award-winning curriculum and evidence-based called Tyro. Tyro is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior. A warrior's path of character and leadership development. We've empowered hundreds of thousands or thousands of hundreds, dyslexic kicking in, from brokenness to responsibility, from absence to presence, from regret to restoration. There is a truth that I hold deeply in my heart. A father without a vision, his family will perish. If we as fathers don't see the future, we can't lead our families into it. Vision gives us direction, discipline, and legacy. Charles Ballard understood that. He taught us that fatherhood isn't a title, it's a mission. And today our mission continues through job training, leadership development, new initiatives, workforce development. We are showing what redemption looks like in action. This award isn't just about what we've done, it's about what still needs to be done. It is a reminder that as long as there are children growing up without their fathers, and as long as families are being torn apart by incarceration and poverty, our work is not finished. I'm also excited to share that my wife and I have written a short story. It will be published very soon. It's called The Prodigal Father. While its work is fiction, it's rooted in my life story, a story of pain, purpose, and power of returning home. It is my hope that it will inspire others to believe that no matter how far they've gone, there is a path back to family, to faith, to their true identity as fathers. My pages are stuck together. I share this honor with my wife, who never gave up on me, who fought hard to keep our family together as I was incarcerated. Yeah. My children who are resilient, passionate change agents. I share this honor with you. I share this honor with the team who gave all their heart and soul to pour into their lives of their fathers we serve. They are here. I got some of our staff here. Stand up, guys. Who are you? I share this honor with our board and partners whose efforts are behind the scenes, but without whom we could never be successful. As I share this honor with every man who's ever sat in a cell feeling hopeless, but decided to rise up and change his children's destiny, and with every father out there fighting to rewrite his story and reclaim his place in the lives of his children. Most of all, I give all glory to God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who in my first day in prison gave me the scripture. Think it not strange of the fiery trial that's about to try you. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12. And I held on to that word, but I also knew a change was coming. But I didn't know that God was going to send men in my life and women and families and correction officers and wardens and directors and legislators to help me understand my purpose. Because my purpose ignited that passion to live for now. Because if you're living in the now, you can change your tomorrow. To quit holding on to, and this is the word the Lord gave me, my past does not define who I am, but it qualified me for something greater if I learn from it and I let it. And that's the message we send to the men all across the United States and the families that we get to work with. And to the organizers of this conference and to Dr. J, thank you for keeping the torch of fatherhood burning bright. To the legacy of Charles A. Ballard, may we continue to walk in your footsteps, igniting hope, rebuilding families, and changing the world one father at a time. Let's go change the world. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Spoken like a true Hall of Famer. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, last but certainly not least is our Lifetime Achievement Award. And this is given to an individual who really has given their life to the work of fatherhood. As I said earlier this morning, 20 years is life. And this individual has almost 4 scores of work in the fatherhood work. I remember when we met. I don't know if he remembers when we met. I was working with the Ford Foundation, and they asked me to go to the Family Support Conference in Chicago. And I met him and David Pate and David Pate's wife and Daniel Ash, and they were working with the Parent Involvement Program, PIP. And we talked and we began to work together. When Ron Mincy and I went to that first child support conference, I think it was back in 1997, Kurt was also among us, all right, at that time. And he has just been a truly committed leader in this whole space in every area. He was one of the significant leaders of the very first National Practitioners Network for Fathers and Families. He was our lead facilitator and consultant for our National Fatherhood Leaders Group. And he's just, he's a college professor. And Kurt is one of those, those double kind of, PhD. He's also JD, it's like, it's like, if you just look at his credentials are longer than his name. All right. But I think it just speaks to his commitment to this work. And this award is named after Halbert Sullivan. For those of you who don't know Halbert Sullivan was one of the preeminent practitioners in this work for over many years. I met him back in 1995, and he was one of those ones like Uriel Johnson. He said, "Doc, I ain't never changing from you. We got, we were joined at the hip." And he brought so much to this work. And even today, his legacy is the Fathers and Families Center that's in St. Louis, Missouri right now, being headed by the incomparable Sherry Tillis, who he just poured into. He just poured into her, and she's been continuing his legacy. And if you want to look at a model, they got public-private partnership. They got all the services under one shop. They got the mental health services there. They got the legal services there. But it took, and I tell people all the time, it took him 25 years to get there. So that's not an overnight proposition. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So just wanted you to know the background of this award. That's where it came from. And this individual really does meet the criteria of lifetime achievement. And is presented today to Dr. Kirk Harris in grateful appreciation for your decades of leadership in the fatherhood research, policy, and practice as an example for generations to come, June 2nd, 2025. Our lifetime achievement recipient, Dr. Kirk Harris.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Woo! Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Sometimes when you get awards like this, you wonder, you got to check yourself and still see if you're alive. Are they sending you off somewhere? But I just want to thank you, Brother Jeff, because I've had enormous mentors such as you, Ron Mincy, Ralph Smith, Joe Jones, Charles Ballard, who I was at a meeting with him once, and he told me, "Young man, you're dangerous." Charles would say stuff like that to you, but I've had enormous influences. But I want to tell a little story about why I'm doing fatherhood. So in the early 90s, I became a father myself. And I grew up without my father. And I was like scared, excuse my expression, shitless about what it meant to be a father in that context, right? And it's really interesting. Even though I grew up without my father, my grandfather was in my life, even though I didn't see him very often. And you know, as a kid, when you don't see your father, you're a little confused. It's like, is this person, where does this person, does he exist and where is he and that kind of thing? And it was one of the ways that my family, and I have a twin sister, one of the ways that my family addressed this is we call my grandfather Grandpa Daddy, because we never saw, we didn't see our father. I met my father when I graduated college. Of course, my mother had the expression, well, why the hell you show up now, right? But here's the thing, and this is the really important thing that I recognize how painful being without your father can be. When my granddad was on his deathbed, and I asked my father, because my granddad had asked me, could you please get your father here? I would like to talk with him. My father was so angry and disconnected, he would not show up to his father's, even at my request, to see his father. And what struck me is, Dad, you did exactly what you're angry about your grandfather, my grandfather about. You did the exact same thing. Am I disowning you? And I recognized that it was time to break the cycle. It was time to break the cycle. And so my experience in the fatherhood space has really been my own journey of being a father. And I have to acknowledge my wife of damn near 40 years now. I have to acknowledge her because she's given me this space to be running around the country, doing all this work, right? And taking care and making sure those connections at home so I can be the father that I really want to be. And, you know, when we were doing the policy work, you know, there's 3 legs to the stool, right? There was the policy work with Fathers, Family, and Public Policies, the Center on Public Policy. There was the practitioner network, and then there was the Center for Research, right? And one of the things I think is really important to say is that those 3 legs produced a body of knowledge that still is being mined today from the Fragile Family Initiative. And I think that's a really important legacy, and it really humbles me to have been a part in some way of contributing to that. And it's always appreciated for your peers to acknowledge you. And let me just say one thing. I have 3 beautiful daughters and a beautiful wife. And I you know, one of the things I didn't say anything about this to my daughter. She said, and she called, Dad, where are you and Mom going? So we're going to DC, you know, I'm just getting a little award. Award for what, Dad? So I described it. And she said, would you want me not to tell you about this award? I said, you're right, baby. So I'm still learning. I'm on my fatherhood journey. I'm working myself. I'm a work in progress, but I just want to thank you for this honor. It's been enormous. Thank you, brother.
Let's celebrate again our 2025 Spirit of Fatherhood Hall of Fame recipients. Woo! Woo! And so as we bring this to the conclusion, I see my wife who is saying, wrap it up, you know, that we do have to move on to our next general session. Take about a 5-minute kind of courtesy break after this. Come back in for our general session with myself, Ken Harris, and Kelly Little. And we're going to be talking about community partnerships. And again, I want to ask all of the mentees and the mentors to meet over here. And also all of our Hall of Fame recipients, so we can take a picture. And again, post these things. This is stuff that should be on Facebook right here. All right, and please let folks know how proud we are of you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.